Welcome back to the Blooming Goddess. I'm Carissa, and in this video, I'm going to share with you a full step process on how to get out of an emotional slump. So number one is surrender to help. Surrender your heart to the universe, to God, to Goddess, to your spirit guides, your spirit team, your angels. Open your heart to the light and the love of the world. When we get to a state of numbness, because we've been so emotional and maybe depressed, maybe really sad, and we get to the space of just feeling numb and empty and lifeless. And it can be hard to get out of that energy by ourselves. So surrendering allows us to open up to a power that is higher than ourselves. And usually the reason why we have long episodes of emotional slumps, or we feel depressed, sad, whatever the case may be, for a very long time, the reason we feel it for so long is because we hold on so tightly and we're closed off to feeling any sort of healing, any sort of love, any sort of hope. Like we just close ourselves off to it. And so surrendering to help, although that sometimes is like the hardest thing when you're like really just like down in the slumps. It can be hard to be like, okay, I surrender. I decide to look on the bright side from this day forth, and I decide to open up, and I decide to give life another chance again. Sometimes it can be hard, right? When we're so like mentally and emotionally closed off. So having that strength to just open up a little bit, even if it's just a little bit, surrender, open up, say out loud, I surrender, God, universe, angels, whoever you are calling on. I surrender to love, to light, to help, to strength, to overcome these emotions. I allow in light energy, love energy. I allow it into my space. And please help me heal. I surrender. So you have to say those out loud or strongly in your mind. You have to, well, out loud I find is like a lot more powerful, but just saying that, the universe hears that and then comes in and helps. But if we don't make that declaration, the universe cannot come in and help us because we have to ask for that help. So that's number one, surrender. Let go of the stubbornness of wanting to hold on so tightly to that emotion. Let go. Number two is go easy on yourself. Peace up. Go easy on yourself. Do not put so many things on your to-do list. Do not put so much responsibility on yourself to work or do. Just be. Okay, just go easy on yourself, go slow, go very slow with yourself, be very gracious with yourself, be very loving, be very forgiving with yourself, and allow yourself time to rest, recover, rejuvenate, restore yourself. Don't overwork yourself too much. If you do have a job that is very demanding, make sure you set those boundaries of like, okay, I'll set this amount of time to work, but after that, like I'm taking a nap. I am like, I'm resting for the rest of the day. And that can also be a hard thing, is resting, because a lot of us, society was programmed that rest and napping, restoring ourselves is lazy, is seen as not productive, is seen as a waste of time. But really, the more we overwork ourselves, the more we burn out, the more we're gonna have to take time off to restore. And it just causes this like not so great impact on our souls, on our bodies, on our mind, on our health when we overwork, overdo. So resting is actually very crucial. It's a very important part of progress, of success, of happiness, of all the good stuff. Rest, rejuvenation. So make sure you're giving yourself that time. And also like having grace and forgiveness with yourself, like knowing emotion takes up a lot of energy within us. When we feel it's energy that's working, right? It's not just like physical work that gets us drained or gets us tired. It's also emotional work. And when we get to that space of an emotional slump because we've felt these deep emotions for a very long time, and maybe we just get to a point of like numbness, when we work through those emotions, it's a lot of work, right? And so taking into consideration that emotional work is energetic work, And energetic work needs to involve rest, right? Just as like physical work, like you wouldn't be, I don't know, a carpenter or a miner or do this like heavy labor work. Like you wouldn't work yourself like 40 hours straight, right? Like that just sounds absurd. I mean, maybe people do that. I'm sure people do that and their bodies like are in pain afterwards. But emotional work is also energetic work. So make sure to be aware of that. So give yourself the time needed off. And also in this time, do little things that you love. Do little things that bring joy to you. So maybe that's going to the park, going for a nice nature walk, going for a hike, going to the beach, playing with your dog, taking naps with your dog. Maybe that's going to Trader Joe's and like getting snacks and good foods and going back home and having a little movie night with yourself. It can be anything, right? So do little things that bring you joy, because that is going to help you restore yourself while you're in this mode of resting and rejuvenation. Also, spending time with loved ones and friends who can hold you and lift you up. So community is probably one of the most like important aspects of life, right? Community, this sense of belonging, this sense of being in a relation and a connection with another, friendship, romantic, whatever. So having loved ones that you can call on, that you can meet up with, that you can hang out with, people that will lift you up, not the toxic friends or the toxic family members that will just like beat you down more. We don't want that. We want people to lift you up. So maybe call your best friend and be like, hey, like, want to go see a movie tonight? Or like, can I come over? Do you want to come over? Like, can we hang out? Like, tell me a funny story, like something, you know, to like make you laugh, make you feel joy again. So that's a big whopping number 2. Number 3 is reuniting with those emotions that you were feeling before, but reuniting with them with a sense of acceptance and forgiveness. So usually when we're in the emotion, when we're in the depression, when we're in the sadness, when we're in the anger, when we're just like in the shit, there's no space. There's limited space for forgiveness, for compassion, for acceptance. We don't want to accept it. We just want to succumb to it and be one with it. But when we give ourselves the time to surrender, let go, allow in healing, allow in time for rest, restorative, allow in time for more joys in our lives, then we can get to a space where we become the observer, because we're not so much in it, we've kind of evolved out of it. And so going back to maybe it was a week ago, maybe it took a week, 2 weeks, however long, to kind of get to the space of, okay, now I can go back to it with acknowledgement, with acceptance, trying to understand it a bit more. So going back to that space with compassion for yourself, for the situation, and reflecting on it. So why, what happened? What was the trigger? What got me into that spiral? What got me into that space of depression, of sadness, of feeling defeated by life? Like what was it that happened? Going back to it as an observer, making sure to not get caught up in it. And if you fear that you might get caught back in it once reflecting in it or reflecting on it, if you feel like you might get sucked back into that emotion, call on your guides, call on the universe, and be like, hey guys, I'm diving in, I'm going in, I'm just gonna like, go back and reflect. So please help me come out of it. And be like, hey, I'm going in. Can you guys cover me? Can you guys make sure I get out okay? Can you guys please give me the love, the strength, the healing, the grace that I need to go back to this moment, to go back to these memories and reflect. So remember, you always have a spirit team, always. And they're there for you 24/7. So whenever you're afraid to do something or you need extra strength, extra courage, call on them and they'll give you whatever you need. So yeah, going back, reflecting, understanding. Because once we begin to understand the way we're programmed, understand the way we are triggered, understand the wounds that we carry within us, we can then bring acceptance into, the situation and what had happened, what has happened. And that acceptance can help us then forgive and let go. Which brings me to number 4. 4 is about releasing, setting the intention to release, let go, and move on. So once we've come to that stage of understanding, oh, I was triggered by that, and then that happened, which made me spiral into thinking this, and that brought me down, whatever. Once you understand these wounds, these toxic mentalities you may have, understanding that and setting the intention to let it go. Because once you become aware of your patterns, of the way you react, over time, you begin to understand, and you can like pinpoint, like, oh, there goes that again. Oh, I'm triggered because that wound was reactivated. Reactivated, that's the word, right? Yeah, that wound was reactivated. You become very aware of your behaviors, reactions, whatever. And the more you become the observer of your reactions, of your behaviors, of your thoughts, the more you practice that, the easier it gets for you to not fall so deeply into a slump. Because you can like catch yourself before you fall so deeply, because you now become more of the observer of what's happening within here rather than letting this inner world control you. So the more you practice this, the more you're taking power back into your hands, because your mind can do many things, right? And if your mind has the ability to control your actions, then you'll always be a servant to your mind and your thoughts, right? And so if you have these toxic patterns, these toxic mental patterns, then they're easily able to control you and keep you back from pursuing the things you want to do, or keep you in fear mode, or keep you feeling shitty about yourself. And this is all with practice, right? So the next time you find yourself in an emotional slump where you're kind of defeated with life, try this process, try these 4 steps and see if it works for you. And if it does, continue to do it. Or even if certain things resonated with you in this video, like do those things, right? If you have things on your own that you came up with, do those things. Practice working through emotions, negative mindsets. And the more you do, the more self-mastery you'll attain, and the more in control of your vibration you'll be. And also time heals you, right? So it might take a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, however long. It might take time, right? To work through each step, to work through the emotions, to go through the reflection period and the period of understanding the programs that you hold within you, the wounds you hold within you. It takes time. And time also heals. So even in the fourth step with letting go, surrendering, letting go, moving on, right? Not allowing those mindsets, those emotions to control you anymore. That takes time. Time and practice. Time and practice allows for self-mastery. So yes, I hope this helped you. If it does, or if you're planning to try it out, let me know. If you have tried it out and it's worked for you, make sure to come back to the video and let me know. Would love to hear it. But I'm sending you guys so much love and light, and I'll catch you in my next video.